good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Yes, it is Sunday. It is time for another live stream. Tonight, we're going to talk about these. My Fatshark Dominator HD goggles, which I made a video about and I made a statement about as well. So I'm going to give you an update. We're also going to talk a little bit about bans that are spreading, not actually in FPV, but something very interesting this week is that bans around the sale of products to Russia have been hitting the PC industry, and it just shows that all this noise and rhetoric about DJI and things like that are not specific to the drone industry, but there is a lot going on. We're going to talk a bit about DJI, of something that came up on LinkedIn with regards to DJI components and reliance on the West. And I think there is, frankly, a massive amount of delusion going on in the US in certain places about how reliant the likes of DJI are on Western components. And I have actually spoke about this, but we're going to take a look at some stuff around DJI's latest drone, which is the Avata 2, which really does paint a very big picture of where DJI is. We're also going to talk about whatever comes up along the way as well. Now, I hope you are all safe and well. I hope you've all had a good week. It is a quieter time at the moment in FPV. Someone's just said when they watch the volume, there will be a difference in volume between the live stream and my recorded videos because I pump the recorded videos very, very loud. Something people have to understand is with volume, YouTube takes a very different volume on recorded videos than it can lives. So if you're listening to recorded content versus a live content, if I was to pump the live that high, I will get problems. It's something I'm going to look at, but I just haven't had time. The live is actually about right. We go into YouTube at the correct level. We are going in at the correct level. We're into the yellow in OBS. So the volume that is going out is correct. The issue is most people on YouTube, and I'm also a little bit guilty of this, pump the volume on recorded content well above what YouTube asks for as the average. And what that causes is the likelihood of some live streams to sound low, whereas other things to sound loud. My stream's never been this quiet. Everything is the same my side. Nothing has changed on my side at all. My output levels are bang on. If anyone else can tell me if it's quiet, because my side, everything is... I'm looking at the outputs on OBS. Everything is normal. I think there is definitely quirks in YouTube. There is definitely quirks in YouTube. There we go. So, okay. Oh, my cup of tea's arrived. 1 second. Oh, I'm spilling my tea. Spilling my tea. I actually swear YouTube has a problem with its app. I actually think YouTube has a problem with its app. There's definitely something going on. But yes, so I hope you are all safe and well. It's been a quieter week in FPV and drones the last couple of weeks. There's not been a huge amount going on. I think just an interesting observation and comment from me, actually. I haven't received a product to talk about in over 2 weeks. There was a point where I was getting like 10 parcels a week. These days, things have quietened down a little bit. Thoughts on the Jumper T15? I haven't got one. I thought they were sending me one. It's not here, so I can't really comment. It's like a Boxer with a colour screen, is really what it is. And, but less quality. Buy a Boxer instead. Look, I'll be honest. Jumper in all, and this will mean they're not going to send me a radio, probably. In all honesty, the Jumpers are just not the quality of the Radio Master. I don't know what the price of the T14 is. I haven't seen the price in. It's a nice looking radio. I do like the colours. Chris Greenleaf said the iFly Echo you reviewed is fantastic. Bought it from AliExpress and the deal with O3, all delivered. It is a cracking drone. Honestly, the iFly Echo, not the Echo, is a phenomenal drone for the money. So, yeah, but it's a quieter time in FPV. Things are ticking over. I have said no to quite a few things, and you'll start to see it because you might find a lot of your favourite content creators are making videos on e-bikes, mobile phones, power stations, and things like that. And that sort of gives you a hint that things are a little bit quieter. I've basically been saying no to stuff. I've even said no to something which I don't know what it is. I'm not going to say who it is, but I've refused to sign an NDA this week because the terms are too erroneous. And I feel, and I will discuss this after that release, but I feel that the terms of that NDA restrict me in my ability to be open and fair on this channel. And as such, I've just decided, well, that's fine. I'll miss the release then. Then so be it. What I'm not going to do is sign an NDA that that I feel restricts me in the ability for me to do what I want to do on the channel. Now, I'm going to be clear. I actually have no issues with NDAs. I fully understand the need for them around a specific product. So we're going to, before we'll tell you about this product, we want you to sign an NDA that you will not disclose information on this product before it's been released. Any company private information must not be handed out and stuff like that. That I'm okay with. What this was a blanket NDA which could be, in my opinion, attributed to anything that I've made in the past or would want to make in the future, and was not specific enough on the product for me. I am more than happy to sign NDAs. I have signed lots of NDAs, but an NDA should be specific to its purpose. And that is what an NDA should be all about. An NDA shouldn't be, you cannot tell stuff about secrets that we give you as a company. Well, it can be, but as a creator, I can't sign an NDA like that. What an NDA should be is product A is this. This is what the NDA is. You can't discuss it until after launch X, Y, Z. That is what an NDA should be. So I said no. So, yeah, it's as simple as that. Did I see the new ERA frame with a nylon nose instead of aluminium? No, I haven't. I've signed quite a few NDAs over the years. I don't have a particular problem, but they have to be specific. And what I will say is, this NDA had a clause in it that if I had found to breach, I agreed to pay them £500,000. I think it was. Or was it 100,000? It was one of the two. And I was like, yeah, no, you can fuck off. Yeah. And yeah, that's why I was not having any of it. So, and it was too far ranging, too wide ranging for me to agree to that. And I'll be honest, anyone who signed that are fucking mental, if I'm honest. Anyone who has signed it, I'm sorry, you must be mad. But we'll discuss that after the fact. But yeah, so FPV companies trying to get their own way. Who'd have thought? Okay, so the first thing we are going to talk about is these. Now, for those who don't know, these are the Fatshark Dominator HD goggles that I bought as damaged. If you saw the video, let me go full screen. If you saw the video, you'd have known I bought them. I did the live stream. I then had reached out to CaddX and they had told me that you couldn't get the board. I had reached out to Fatshark, but I hadn't heard anything. Shortly afterwards, after a lot of the noise kicked off then from my video, I was told that the parts were available. I had an apology from CaddX. They were going to send me a replacement board, and they offered as compensation a set of Goggles X. Now, I openly said that I don't feel I can accept a set of Goggles X. However, what could be a nice idea is that we could give them away on the channel. And that was agreed. Now, that was at the start of June, 31st, end of the month. As a result of that, I then went and put a statement out saying that the information I was given is wrong. And I actually wrote this in my statement, if I recall. Let me just find it on YouTube, because that should still be up under the community. If we go to the desktop, it won't be the Rotor Riot one. It will be this one here. So in this statement here, I wrote, in a recent repair video, CaddX have told me and then I went on to say about this, and then I mentioned that CaddX had been very supportive and the matter was resolved. Now, that was all on the 31st of May. Actually, after that, Fatshark / Rotor Riot did reach out to me. They apologised for the delay. And after they were quite slow to respond, they apologised, but they have also sent a replacement board. When I say also have sent a replacement board, this one here, that is the only thing that I have actually received. Since the initial noise from CaddX, them saying, oh my God, we want to fix this, we made a mistake, we want to give you this and that. On that matter, I have heard nothing. I have not received anything. I have not had nothing come through the post. I have had no further communication with them on that matter. Now, I have chose specifically not to chase them on this. And as of here of now, basically nothing. So, right now, I'm left with the only opinion that I can have is that they rushed around to make a comment to try and get the noise quashed and have failed to uphold what they agreed to do. Now, I'll be honest, it's down to you what you think about that. I am fed up to the back of my teeth with brands playing games with users and creators, and I'll be honest, I've had enough. So, whilst this wasn't specifically their problem, that promise never came through. And I have intentionally not chased it because it's not my job to chase what they said they were going to do. Now, I'll be honest, I suspect it's a mistake and they forgot. But they've not done what they've said, so that's it. That's it. There's nothing more I can do. I can't tell you if the part's available. I don't know, because they didn't send it to me. I have a brand new board, and I want to say a big thank you to the guys at Rotor Riot and Fatshark for reaching out and sending it. They were a little slow, but other than that, they did it absolutely fine. I haven't opened it yet. I haven't looked at it yet. I think one of the plastic clips is broke on the cover, but that's not a problem. I have them. But if we have a look here, they have sent a replacement PCB. Do parcels often disappear where I live? No. And also, every parcel I receive from them is tracked. This is not, what I'll tell you is this, it's not been dispatched. So they have sent me a replacement board. Looks good. They do they use the same board as they use in the VRX? No, different board. Unfortunately. The VRX has to have a HDMI converter. So, we have a replacement module. Now, I haven't fitted it yet. I'm going to do that this week. I am going to make a video on it. I haven't tested it. I'm not going to do it live on stream, but I have received it. It looks brand new. I think I spotted one of the clips was broke on. Yeah, that clip there is gone. That's fine. It probably happened in transit. Any word on if they would charge plebs? I'll be honest with you. I don't know if you'll even get one because they didn't send it to me. What I am more annoyed about is the fact that you got all this noise. And I now know what's going to happen. And I was tempted to not say nothing on this for like 3 months and then wait. It'll come now in a week after this gets done and they'll protest that there was a shipping delay or they forgot or something like that. The truth of the matter here will be they said something and then they didn't follow through. And that's the basics. Now, I'm expecting it to turn up after saying this. Because you know that's what they're going to do. But I've had enough. So, there will be a final repair video coming on these goggles. And then if they work fine, we will then do something with them on the channel. So, I thought I would give you an update. What I will say is this, whenever I've received something from them, it's always tracked, it's always fairly quick. It does take a bit of time, not that long. They're usually less than a week, if I'm honest, everything I've had from CaddX. Now, I have to say, and to be fair, CaddX have always been very fair to me on this channel, to be honest, even under criticism. But I can't help them if they don't help themselves. Do reappear on a live as I did the last one. Yeah, I might do it as a live. I won't be able to do it for a few days, but I might do it as a live later in the week because it is quite fun doing them as a live. I don't want to do it on this stream, but I will do it on a live if it things. But look, as always, I wanted to share with you guys the truth because that's all I do on this channel. And whilst there are people out there that say I'm biased to DJI, biased to CaddX, CaddX have been very good to me on this channel. They have always supported, and I have really criticised them in the past, and they've always done it. In this occasion, they said they were going to do something. They haven't. I don't really know what more I can say. It is basically the end of June now. I would have expected the board to have turned up by now. What I can say is, Fatshark was slow and got onto me faster. So a big thank you to the guys over at Rotor Riot. They were very good. I'll talk about that a bit more in the video when we do it at the time. Now, that really ends that subject. Next, we're going to just give you a little bit of an update on PIDToolbox. Now, if you don't know what PIDToolbox is, it is a piece of software that is used for analyzing your black box logs in Betaflight, iNav, and others, and it has always been free. However, there is a change that is now happening to PIDToolbox. Now, just to be crystal clear, PIDToolbox is still available to download for free in the current version, which is version 0.65. However, they are now moving to a paid model moving forward. And I do need to explain this because it is paid via Patreon, but it is not a subscription. So the current version, that last version of PIDToolbox, which is version 0.65, remains free. You can download it for both PC and Mac, although the Mac version, Microsoft Silicon. Oh, looks like we had a drop there. It doesn't, it doesn't like working on Apple Silicon. Microsoft Silicon? What am I talking about? Apple Silicon. It tends to be Intel-based Macs. But it is available for Windows or both. Moving forward, they're moving to a paid version, and it's not a subscription, right? So, if you join their Patreon, you will get access to the latest versions of either the standard version or their new Pro version. Now, you can pay once, get the latest version, and then cancel it. So you'd only pay for 1 month, and you will have that latest version. If you remain one of the Patreons, you will get ongoing support and ongoing updates every time a new version releases. What you won't get by joining the Patreon and cancelling is the new versions continuously. You'll get the current version right now, but you won't get the next version that's updated in a week, a month, a year, whatever. But what you could do is once every 6 months, pay the £2 or £4.50 for the Pro, get the current version for 1 month, then use it for the next 6 months. It's not a subscription, but if you're a Patreon, you get ongoing supports and ongoing updates. And there are two versions. It is £2, or I'm not sure what it is in dollars. It's £2 in the UK a month for the standard version. And that gives you the standard version of PIDToolbox, general support, exclusive content and tuning, and download to version 0.7. And then if you go for the Pro, what you get on $4.50 a month is the latest Pro version. You get a weekly meeting on how to use it and talking about it, and you get download access to the PIDToolbox Pro software. So that is what you get for this. So it's not free. You can still get the 0.65 version. Is available to download, and I don't believe he's stopping downloading it. It is going to be available. But if you want the latest versions, you're going to need to go on the Patreon. But as I've said, you could just pay for the 1 month and get the current version. So it is like a paid software in that regard if you wanted it. What he has done is added now proper support for Apple Silicon, proper support for Linux, proper support for Windows as well. So it's a better version altogether. So that is something I just want to mention. It is there. His Patreon is there. If you search for it, it does tell you about it on the PIDToolbox page, and they have listed it there. There's a couple of people that are a bit sort of funny about it going into paid, but at the end of the day, software needs development. If you've only got to pay $2, £2, £3, $3, whatever it is for a current version, it's not bad, let's be honest. It seems a reasonable approach to keep the software alive. 100%. 100%. I have no issues with it at all. Now, just reading down, Brandon Beans, I just used Black Box Explorer. Yeah, look, I'm not a big tuner via Black Box or anything. I'll be honest. I tend to just push the D gain as high as I'm happy with, drop it back a little bit, push the P up until I'm happy or it's not vibrating. And I tend to leave Betaflight get on with the filtering now. It's so good out the box now. I'm not a big fan, or not a big fan. I love data, so I should love this stuff. But I tend to just tune very, very loosely. It is something, though, I am going to be doing a video on. I am going to go through a full tune build using PIDToolbox. MadTech is tuning you first. And that is a very easy way to tune if the filters are doing well. Yeah. Yeah. All I tend to do is drop the thing up, feel the motor. I just tend to feel the motor temperature and just how... If it starts feeling too mushy, I'll drop the D back a bit, and then, you know, the thing with D-gain is this, isn't it? See, and people always, I always loved that ticking, moving things that describe PID gains. And PID, in my head, I always tried to keep really simple. So obviously, I always look at it a bit like sort of a building analogy or having a car or a JCB. And the way I always look at it is P gain is your force. How much force you want to apply to the movement. Too much force and you'll go too far. Too little force and it won't be enough. And then your D gain is your dampener on your car. Is your shock absorber, which is then dampening how far to push back against the P. So if you have too much pushback, you'll either not reach the set point or it'll feel mushy, it won't feel right. And I always just tend to go, right, jack the D until I just feel it's okay. It's not feeling too dampened. And then I just push the P gain as high and as fast as I want it, and as long as there's no vibrations. And then I tend to just leave the I mostly alone. I is tracking anyway, so I don't mess too much with I. I don't really have too many problems with I gain. It's done quite well. That's perfect. Ian is a tuning pro. You know, I just, you know, just, that's how, and that video of, I love this video for those who haven't seen it. This is the best video. There is a video on PID controllers, which is this is right. This is as good as it gets, right? This is perfect. Okay, so this is the best explanation I have ever seen of a PID loop. And this really does give you everything you need to know. So what you can see there, so he's tuning everything down, right? So he's jacked the P gain right down, and your knob here is your force. So your knob is your flight controller telling the PID loop to react. So you can see here, he's tuning it. And what you can see on the bounce is there's not enough damping. There's not enough stopping force. So it's overshooting and bouncing. And it's really simple. And the more he does it, the more it overshoots and tries to correct itself, and it will do it faster because it's adding more force, and then it starts to the point of you've got too much, and then it'll start vibrating. Then you add in your dampener, your shock absorber, and what you want to do is you want it to kick it. Oh, look at that. That was perfect. There you go. Boom. Oh, not quite enough. Oh, not enough there. Now, if it's too much, it starts to slow and it gets mushy. And that's what you saw there. If I just go back, if you watch him there, when he jacks the D gain too much, it slows everything and it's mushy. It's not as strong as it should be. So what you're trying to do, first of all, is get the balance between P and D. Now, your eye gain is your set point. Your eye gain is your tracking. The easiest way to think of eye gain is you're driving down the middle of the road and you want the white line down the middle. Is your car over the white line? If it's not, it's going to keep moving you to keep you on the white line. That's what your eye gain is. Your hand's off the wheel, the car's driving down the road, it's auto-correcting. And it's such a good representation. So when you get your D gain sorted first, because if you overdo the D, it's going to feel mushy. But the big risk with D gain is to fly away and it heads off into the sunset. And the one real thing you got to risk with D is that your motors don't go on fire. But it is such a great video. I call it dampening, but it's derivative. Don't say D dampener is derivative. Yes, I know. But look, Louis, it's easier to say what you're seeing here. And it's just such a good video. Such a good video. It really is. And it's always the simplest way in my head to think about it. And yeah, you've got to be careful with D, because if you overdo D, you will either head off into the sunset or set a motor on fire. Yes, it is, Louis, but that's the filtering and the flight control, especially Betaflight now. You don't really need to worry about the external forces, and your external force reaction is largely being affected on your eye gain on an FPV quad anyway. I bet you tell that to all the kills. And Betaflight is so good now. So good now at the filtering out the door. But I am going to do a video on PIDToolbox, and I am going to go through a tune as a journey, because I haven't tuned that way for a very long time. And I do like the way PIDToolbox looks. I like the options around it. It's very nice at showing. They've got a really nice stepped response feature, which is really nice for showing this behavior, actually. And I'm gonna try and use it, and we'll talk about it on the channel, because I think it is interesting. I'll be honest, these days I just push the sliders until I'm happy and go fly. And the Betaflight has come on so much. I'm waiting for auto-tune, is what I'm waiting for in Betaflight. You tend to find, what I will say is, and Louis will know, when you start heading up to 450 and above, PID tuning in like Ardra is a lot more complicated. It's a lot easier because you've got auto-tune, but it is a lot more reactionary like the old days in Ardra, although auto-tune does a fantastic job of doing it for you anyway. Betaflight now is almost at the stage, and Dave has said it there at WhatsApp, he just leaves it to standard default PIDs, because default PIDs on Betaflight on a 5-inch are almost perfect. And if it isn't, you've probably got a hardware issue going on. You probably have a hardware issue going on. The great thing, actually, the great thing about Betaflight now specifically is that you have your presets, which are very good as well. You can pick a 5-inch preset from Ross's build, from an Apex build, from Sugar K, from all of the guys. You won't be far off. You will only need to. There you go. Someone's just said karate preset on my quad and it flies great. Yeah, 100%. There are so many great presets in Betaflight now. Just pick one and it won't be far off. And the honest truth of it is, if I love the Superfly ones, yeah, awesome starting point for everything from 2 to 5 inch, 100%, John. And if you're getting something that's dramatically off one of those presets, unless it's an aggressive one, if it's an aggressive preset, then maybe not. But you probably then have an issue going on you need to look at. If you have a standard good solid frame, yeah, you shouldn't go far. There are literally so many good presets out there now. It should be easy. Right, I need to say 2 big thank yous. One to Mr. Bundy, $9.99. You are a gentleman. Thank you for that, my friend. And number 2 is What's Up. Thanks, Dave, for the £5 super chat. That's incredible. Is it possible to tune a 9-inch quad to respond as perfectly as a 5-inch or Betaflight, or is it impossible? It's never going to feel the same because you have different KV motors. You're never going to get a 9-inch to feel as sharp as a 5-inch. Because you're running a different prop. You're running a different motor. You can fly it aggressive. You can make it sharp. But it is inherently going to be different just due to the sheer amount of mass on the battery. You're going to have as someone's just said, you've got a lot lower authority. You're going to have everything is, your slower motors of higher weight. Everything is going to be slower and smoother is the term I'll use. Yeah, and as Louis says there, otherwise you're going to have extremely powerful motors and high RPM. Yeah, if you want to, you've got to go outside of the 7-inch norm or 9-inch norm. If you go down a 9-inch build, it's going to feel like a 9-inch. That's the reality of it. Did you see Bubby freestyle his Cine lifter? I did. And look, you can do these things. It's just, how do you want it to feel? Oh, 3 to 4. You've also got to take into account, Alex, with a 3 to 4 inch, the lack of weight also becomes a problem. Right. Weight, mass is good and can help the PID controller as well. Because remember, your aircraft is fighting, your PID controller and your flight controller is fighting against the mass in movement. So when you are doing a flip, your entire setup is pushing that based on the mass of the aircraft. And a lower weight aircraft doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be, it can be faster, but it might not necessarily quite feel as sharp. Smaller motors is also a problem. So again, you might want 5-inch motors on a 3-inch quad if you want it to feel like that. But mass there is absolutely a sort of 5-inch 280 gram sweet spot in freestyle. That 250, 280 is just almost the perfect balance in a build. It really is. It's just, there's just something, is it gravity? There's everything. It's just, it happens to just be the nicest balance. It really does. A really great flying 5-inch, it's on rails. And it's got the weight against the outside forces, wind, rain, etc. It just helps. Our FPV forefathers found us the sweet spot of 5-inch. Yeah. You know, you'd be surprised how nice, you know, a 450 frame can feel quick if you push it hard enough. But you then start dealing with prop wash issues and everything like that. Okay, so that is that. Late to the game. Good afternoon. Okay. Now, the next thing I want to talk about two things in a row, and I just want to get something up for this. So let me prep, because this came to me actually before I went live on the stream, and I haven't actually done this yet, and I need to get it done. And I need to update the FPV wiki with teardown images of the PCBs on the DJI Avata 2, but I haven't done it yet. Let me just get myself into the right position. Okay, so sorry about that. Okay, two things I want to talk about with regards to DJI. The first is the ban. Right, you're going to see a lot of noise online from certain sections that is talking about the DJI ban, everyone's lying, or what they're telling you isn't going to happen, or it's probably not going to happen, or even if it does happen, it's not going to change your current drones. You're probably going to see podcasts, you're going to see posts. Right. The fact of the matter is today, and this is the absolute fact, we don't know. Anyone telling you you probably won't get a ban on existing stuff, it probably won't happen, it's very unlikely this. Nothing is a given on this right now. We are in the complete unknown territory. Now, this stuff is happening so much so that DJI even posted on my video about this. I was actually a bit shocked to see this, but let me find it for you. DJI themselves posted on my video. Hi, DJI. Hope you're well. Long time no speak. How about you send me an email? Perhaps we could have a chat. Let me just find it here. Here we go. So here's the video. And let me find the comments. And I was a little bit surprised on this that DJI themselves actually posted. And it's quite a frank post from DJI, if I'm honest. I'm a little shocked. I'm just trying to find it. I am a little shocked that they wrote something as open and as candid as they did. So I'm just trying to get down all of the comments. Can you search for comments? Wow. This is taking me a while. Right, so here's the video. I'm trying to find the comments. DJI. Search for DJI. That's not support. Oh, no, that's not how you spell support. Let me just search for the word ban. Of course, not easy to find the comment. No, it was on the video. They actually commented on the video. Should I see if... Who was this? DJ... Interesting. Newest first. Let me go to the oldest then. They definitely commented on the video. You pasted it in Discord. I did, in fact, paste it in Discord. That is a very good point. I did paste it in Discord. Let me find that. Now I got to try and find it in Discord. But I did paste it. But it's quite interesting, so I want to talk about this. Shows you how unprepared I was. If anyone in my Discord finds it, bloody ping it for me, will you? Ah, Failsafe put it on there for me as well. Good man. There it is. Right. So, here we go. So, DJI actually responded on the video, and they said the following. Hi there. According to the current evaluation, the political ban would only apply to new models of DJI drones and other new products thereafter. The current products being sold in the US market, or those have already been sold, won't be impacted. Now, that is very matter of fact. I am actually shocked how matter of fact that is. And whilst I'm not going to call him a liar, what I'm going to tell you is this. Nothing is fact right now. I'm not saying to worry, but what I'm saying is this. You're seeing a lot of rhetoric trying to play the effect down on current drones. Why would a manufacturer who wants to be able to sell you something right now want to play down the fact that it could affect the product you may buy? I don't know. Could they be worried that people aren't buying drones because they're worried they won't be able to use them? Of course they are. Now, I'm not actually saying don't buy. I say carry on as normal, don't worry about it, is what I'm saying a minute. If the law changes, the law changes. People will do what they want to do anyway. What I am saying is don't believe there is a huge amount of rhetoric going around that from some creators, some people trying to say, you're wrong, you're not telling the truth. The truth is no one knows. No one fully knows. Until it happens, we don't know. Based on the wording of the bill and the usual procedural history of the FCC coveted list. Yes, correct, El Chino. But there is also a very real concern about current drones in operation. What is actually very interesting, and I did find this funny today, and this is actually very funny. And I did see this article today. I'm trying to find it. And it's an article of the Chinese government are concerned about the drones spying on them. And I thought I read it on Drone Excel, if I'm honest. I read it on X. But it was that the Chinese government are worried about drones spying on critical infrastructure, which I thought was rather amusing. It was just quite an amusing article. But I can't remember where I read it. It's DJI. I thought I wrote it on Drone Excel. I definitely read it. It's definitely vanished. Quite funny, though, as an article. I swear I read it on Drone Excel. Not seeing it there. Iodine Music. I don't think the FCC could enforce the rule on drones already sold. That's impossible unless they have a kill switch. No, what they can say is it's no longer legal for use. They can't stop your product working, but what they could say is we are not going to allow the use of these in American airspace no more, period. And this pushback isn't just about new drones. The problem is you do a ban moving forward. That doesn't solve all of the problems. They enforce it through the police. They can make it law, but they enforce it through the police. But there is a huge amount of pushback against it, them being used, period. And it's impossible. Nothing is impossible. Look, this is a very political game, and nothing is impossible. We don't know is the truth. Now, I've been clear in saying people should carry on as they are. And even if you actually look at DJI's wording, even their wording isn't saying... What they're saying is what we're reading means it isn't going to be affected. This isn't a normal situation by any means. This isn't a typical situation by any means. Things are about to get very, very nasty in this. Very, very nasty indeed. But we're going to have to wait and see if it happens. It might not. There's still opportunities for it not to happen. For users, I genuinely hope it doesn't. But we're just going to have to wait and see. It would 100% affect people's insurances. Yes. You know, look, if they decide to withdraw all current certification, it opens up all sorts of Pandora's boxes. Is it likely? I don't know. Robert says, flew 03 for the first time yesterday, and wow, incredible. Way better than the Vista. Do you think they will release an 04 unit? I don't know. We don't really have any info yet. It will happen. We just don't know when. If not, would you rather 03 and Goggles V2 or Goggles 2 versus Goggles 3? You got to, and something interesting you say is, I'm latency sensitive, but wow, 03 is incredible on the go through. I felt no latency at all. See, and this is it. You're actually not latency sensitive. What you are is frame delivery sensitive. 03 on the Goggles 2 has worse latency than the Vista on the V2s. What it has is much more smooth frame delivery. But the latency is actually higher by about 6 milliseconds. But what it has is dramatically smoother frame delivery. I mean, malware backdoor in the hardware? No. Okay, do we think there's backdoors in DJI's hardware? Yes. Ban trees, ban all birds. Imagine being so... Super Deluxe, there is a law in the UK that was used against photographers, right? You might not believe this, but we had a spate of photographers who were arrested under an anti-terrorism law. And these were guys taking photography of what the government deemed as sensitive locations. And what it was people taking photographs around them of the areas and things like this. And they used an anti-terror law, right, to arrest them and have those pictures taken offline. Any update on Goggles 3 and 03 compatibility? No, we're waiting on DJI. They're working on it. We just don't know when it's going to come. The Bad for Life says the 03 latency is much smoother. The big difference is the V2 goggles have, frankly, horrible frame delivery, and that's what makes the Goggles 2 and 03 feel so much better. It is shocking frame delivery. Yeah. Is it good to keep the DJI Controller 2 for drones? If you need it. If you don't, get rid of it. You're not going to get that much money for it, though. Installations, yeah. Now, in all of this DJI stuff, there has been quite a lot of interesting stuff being posted on Twitter, as you can imagine, or X, as I should call it. One of the things I found very interesting is this fairly wide belief in the US that DJI can't survive if they cut them off because DJI use all of these Western components. Now, this is actually really interesting because it is a fact that in the past, DJI have heavily relied on Western components in their drones. So, for instance, and if we just start at the drone down, so the aircraft itself used to use STM32 microcontrollers for the flight controller, Western. For the video recording chipset, DJI used to use Umbrella, which is an American company. They had the A9, the H2 in some of their products. For the wireless video system, they used to use chipsets via DaVinci. For the object image sensing, so the visual positioning and the object avoidance, they used to use a chipset that was basically owned by a company owned by Intel. In the cameras, the sensors are all Sony, East Japanese, but Western as such. And then on their industrial stroke, their enterprise drones, for instance, their thermal sensors were FLIR, and a lot of their overall components around all of that was Western based. Over the last 3 or so years, though, things have changed. And the Avata 2, as I understand it, is pretty much the first DJI drone that I've seen that basically doesn't use Western components at all. Now, when I say basically, I mean this. There are components in there from Western companies, but they are not reliant on those components. And what I mean by that is this. There are components in there like voltage regulators by Texas Instruments. They are chosen because they are the best option. But they are not the only option, and they would not mean that DJI is specifically tied to using that component or brand. It is just, whilst they are able to use it, the supply of it is absolutely fine. And if we take a look at this, right, so this is the main board of the DJI Avata 2. And this really epitomizes the changes for me. And we've got both sides of the board, so let me just get to the other side. So what we have on here on the Avata 2 is the new S2 chipset for video up here. We have the Eagle 3T for the video image processing. Gone are the STM32s. There's no more STM32s in here. There's no more Umbrella in here. They're all gone. Both of these are DJI custom ASICs. You do still have some sort of sundry components that might be by American companies. That is a Wi-Fi chipset, which is Chinese. So even that Wi-Fi chipset is Chinese now. They've even moved away, right, from Skyworks power amplifiers on the main front-end RF side. Their batteries used to use either an STM32 or Texas Instruments IC as well. But again, they're even moving away from STM and they're moving to Giga devices. So here you can see the RF power amplifiers. They do still have the transceivers from Imagination Technology, but they're not necessarily reliant on these. There are Chinese versions available. And whilst there is Western components in here, the key components today is the fact that they no longer run the flight controller on the STM32. That now runs on the main Linux SoC. The S2 is their video chipset. It's all in-house. And even actually, when we start looking at other things, they're moving away from STM and they're moving to Giga devices for a lot of their ARM-based stuff as well. So if I go to DJI FPV Remote 3, they're actually using a Giga devices chipset in this. So instead of using an STM32, they're using a GD32. They've moved away from STM altogether. Now, this isn't to say that there isn't Western components in these drones, because there are. But what you have to understand is what is Western absolutely needed and what isn't. And the reality is, from their core hardware, DJI is now completely self-sufficient. There is basically only one component I can think of they may have a problem with, and that would be the MEMS, and that would be the gyros. But remember, all of the gyros today are made by TDK, InvenSense, whatever, TDK, who's a Japanese company. And in the end of the day, there is no way that anyone in the West could stop DJI getting access to them. What is very clear to me in all of this is DJI have spent the last 2 or 3 years separating themselves off from Western supply for their products. They have even moved away from FLIR image sensors. There's no FLIR image sensors anymore in their drones. They use a Chinese company instead. And basically, DJI is self-sufficient now. And there is this interesting talk online about DJI being fully, can't survive without the West. From a sales perspective, I agree. They will be impacted. From a component perspective, they're fine. There are components where they chose to use Western variants, Texas Instrument predominantly. But there are alternatives. They could absolutely pivot. So any thoughts that, oh, we can stop DJI through the supply of components are gone. They don't need the West to build their drones anymore. They are more than self-sufficient at this point. And it's just interesting because you are seeing some stuff come up about this in the US and things like this. And it is complete nonsense. They don't need us. They are fine. So I thought I'd talk about this a little bit because it is interesting. And look, this board is a work of art. I'll be honest with you. What DJI have done on this board is incredible. Just the layout of this is just so well done. And you will find some Western stuff in here. Mostly power amplifiers. Voltage regulators. But they can survive. It's not a problem. But DJI's board layout and their component count is second to none. Their board design is right up there with the best of them. When you look at their layout of components, John has said they might not have chosen to move from Texas Instruments in the entity list. Well, they haven't moved from them. They're still using them today, John. My point with it is they don't have to. It's more choice today that they still use them. And they're still using TI. DJI is still using TI components. They'll be buying them on the open market. There's a lot of TI components in DJI's products, mostly because TI tend to make the most voltage regulators on the planet. There's a lot of other stuff out there, but for reliability, DJI tend to choose the best. And there is something that I find very interesting in all of this. There's a lot of people they can get around it. Yeah, component supply is global. That's the thing, John. With component supply is global. TI won't be selling to them direct. DJI will just be buying on the open market in China. There are thousands of component sellers in China. DJI will just be going onto the open market and buying. Things like the American ban, really, it's not possible to stop MEMS, TI, things like that. Analog devices would be even more reliable for 5 times the cost. Something, yeah, you're right. Something that made me laugh was there was a comment on one of my videos on this DJI stuff, and someone said, oh, I'm fed up of DJI with their expensive drones. I'm looking forward to them being banned so we can see some cheaper home alternatives. I'm telling everyone now, you ain't getting nothing from anyone for double the cost that is of the quality of DJI. Honestly, their manufacturing is, as far as I'm concerned, as good as any of the best companies in the world. Their board layouts, their stuff you're seeing here, right? They are top of their game when it comes to board layout, design, and manufacturing. I mean, they are, it is on another level, are they, compared to everyone else. DJI is insanely cheap for what it is, but what they also don't do, it's not that it's bad, Carry Buzz, it's that DJI engineer everything to the max. And here is the easiest way for me to show you this, okay? The best way I can show you this is on my wiki. You'll see loads of people complain about HDZero and Avatar HD VTXs burning out, okay? And this is largely because they have a very minimalistic RF front stage. So if we have a look at an Avatar HD VTX module, and I'm looking at this from my wiki, okay? So from the power input stages, right, you have your voltage input here. You will then have a bit of diode protection, a couple of fuses. On the other side of the board, actually, no, it should be here. Where is it? Actually, which one have I selected? Is this the... That's the 1S, not the 1S. Sorry, let me look at the normal one. This one's better. Sorry. This is the one I need to show you. So, you've got your voltage input. You've got a voltage regulator, a single voltage regulator. And then it goes straight to the Dialog system management IC on this side here, which is a 4-in-1 regulator. And then you've got another regulator here. Their power stages are very, very minimal. Okay. Now, there is a reason the DJI VTXs are so much bigger, because DJI engineered the input power far beyond what anyone else does. So if we look at not an O3A unit, let's look at a Vista. FPV, where's the FPV E units? There we go. So if we look at the E units, and if we look at a Vista, DJI's power input, actually, it's not the best images, actually, the Vista. The ear unit is the best images. So the power input comes in through a diode bridge, then is controlled by a FET, then is massively filtered, then it goes through 2 stages of regulation, here and here, before going into the system management IC to power the P1 and the SRAM. And what it is, DJI is just engineering it so much better, because it's really simple. DJI could not accept the failure rates as a big company that CaddX, HDZero, and others have. DJI is a consumer manufacturer. So as such, their reliability has to be as good as Apple's, has to be as good as Samsung, has to be up there with everyone else. They are not a little FPV company. They are a consumer electronics company making drones, and as such, that product needs to work for the next 5, for the next 10 years because their brand matters. And that's the big difference. DJI is making products to compete in a marketplace that is much bigger than just FPV. And their build quality, their board layout, their design is just right up there with what you would expect from Sony, Panasonic, Apple, Samsung. When you look at what we're doing in FPV on the other stuff, much less density, much minimalistic bomb counts, making sure that they've got exactly what they need and nothing more. And that's why DJI's is just on another level. And then you add in what you get, the cost on it, it's just ridiculous. The only other RC company with a similar high-end PCB design is Fatshark. I haven't seen inside some of the bigger radios, so I do think it'd be interesting to see inside. I haven't seen inside a Spectrum for some time. I've never found an ADS-B module for less than $500. I don't know how DJI does it. Well, DJI only have ADS-B in. AirSense is only receive on DJI. They don't have ADS-B out. And this is why you don't really see a single board DJI, because I think it would be almost impossible for DJI to make a single board ear unit that would meet their quality standards. If DJI went away, Samsung or others would have an opportunity. They ain't got the tech. DJI is so far ahead. Oh, look, DJI, I'll be honest. I think DJI has the most advanced wireless video systems on the planet now, period. No one has what DJI has in wireless video. There is no one who has come. DJI is so far ahead. It's ridiculous. No wonder Skydio wants to stop them. Skydio are playing a game. Look, here's the big problem in the US. Here's the truth of the matter in the US. They keep trying to solve the drone problem, and they can't, because everyone keeps buying DJI drones. It's like cigarettes. You want people to stop smoking. What's the only real way you can stop people smoking? You got to ban cigarettes. You can make them more expensive. There are people out there with money to buy them. You can make the packets look horrible. There are people out there who don't care. You can hide them under the counters so you can't even see them. But the reality is, the only real way to stop smoking is to ban cigarettes, period. And then it's going to take some time. And it's the same problem for the US and drones. I don't think they are, in reality, particularly concerned about consumers having the drones. The problem they've got is they can't solve the American drone industry problem whilst DJI is still being sold there. The only way to solve the US drone industry problem is to stop DJI being in the industry, and that will force the industry to catch up. Now, all of this talk of the American drone industry being bad is nonsense when you look at what Skydio are delivering and others. Look, ignore the consumer side, right? Skydio have some very advanced products. The US drone industry is not lacking. Right? This is a high-end reconnaissance drone, right? It has thermal cameras. It has all of the options they need. They have the products. It's there. The problem is no one wants to pay for it. The problem is that thing is costing probably $50,000. DJI is selling you something similar for 15, and that's the problem. And that's why DJI needs to be banned, because you can't force people, even governments and entities, to use these things when the cheaper alternative is on the market. And that's the problem. That's the crux of it. In the end, you can wrap it all up in politics, and there is a lot of politics around it. Elchington, I don't believe the US manufacturers are interested in FPV. No, you're 100% correct. This is all about commercial industrial drones. Plus, you have to buy the service to use the drones annually. Yeah, look, this is really simple. In the end, this comes down to they don't like how many Chinese drones are flying. That's a fair statement. But more than that, the only real way to solve it is to stop them being part of the industry, to allow everyone else to catch up. I heard they do like agricultural drones. Yes, and that's the problem. Is no one the belief overall is no one else is making products because DJI makes so much stuff, because they sell so much stuff in every industry in every quarter. No one else can get a foothold. So really, what a ban will do is say so then you're going to get someone else creep up and start making agro drones, and you're going to get someone else start making, you know, search and rescue drones, and someone else pop up and start making small reconnaissance drones. What you're probably not going to have is like a single entity like DJI. Military drones, they've got the military drones. The military stuff's there. The military stuff is already there. That's what these guys, Skydio and others, are all fulfilling the military stuff. Military stuff isn't a problem. It's never been a problem. It's about everything else. How do you get private industry running nuclear power stations to stop buying DJI? That's the problem. And what you'll end up having is lots of little drone manufacturers in the US, I suspect. And in the end, that's what it will come down to. And that's also part of the reason why I actually think it's going to happen. I genuinely do. I don't want it to. I don't want it to. I actually, and as much as people think, I don't have a problem with DJI. I think they make the best products in the world. I've said it many times. I have a problem with how they behave sometimes. I tell you what I will find highly interesting, and this is going to be a controversial thing. I'm going to find it very interesting, and this comment might get me some attacks. Watch this space. So I'm going to throw a hand grenade out there. I will be very interested to see how many drone channels suddenly aren't viable now DJI aren't paying them consultancy fees is the term I'll use. How many drone channels will you suddenly see vanish? That I will be very interested in seeing. And I ain't talking about FPV. I'm actually talking about drone channels themselves. And don't think for 1 minute the game isn't that there are lots of channels, right, who are getting consultancy fees so they don't have to put on their videos sponsored by, paid for, and things like that, because they get a consultancy fee for working for the brand, and then they happen to make a video on a DJI subject. I am incredibly interested. Now, look, what I do feel for is any creator who has built their channel around DJI and isn't in their pocket. And that's a hard thing. And that's going to be a weird position for these guys. And it's not going to affect FPV. It's not going to affect FPV, folks. I can tell you now, DJI doesn't pay anyone strictly in FPV. I can tell you now, they don't. People have accused it for years. They don't do it. No brand pays anyone in FPV like that. It's just not the money in it. But there are some fairly big channels that you just look and go, ooh, what's going to happen here? And it happened before. There were channels that changed before. That would be interested in. That for me will be interesting. Why does nobody... Fun fact, before the euro money was in Austria, it was called shilling. But no, look, it is going to have an effect on some creators. And I am going to, for the genuine guys out there, I'm sorry. I don't know what you're going to do. You're going to have to pivot, stop. We're all in the same boat, you know? We definitely feel sorry for creators getting affected by it. What I'm interested in is the flow of money and all of this stuff that's been not clear, not disclosed, and, you know, look, I don't care if... I'll be honest. If DJI said to me tomorrow, we will give you $2,000 to talk about this drone, I might take it. But I can tell you the video would start like this. DJI has given me $2,000 to tell you about this drone. And today, that's what I'm going to do. This video may not contain my personal opinions and thoughts and will contain information provided by the company that has given me the $2,000. As long as you're honest, it doesn't matter. I don't begrudge any creator taking money from a brand. I don't. No one should get upset with creators taking money from a brand. What's important is you disclose it. That's all that's important. So if you're and here's the biggest whole world of BS, ambassadors. And we don't see this in drones and FPV, right? This actually is mostly in things like cameras. I'm an ambassador for the brand. Oh, here's a review of the latest camera. Oh, by the way, I should just say, make you aware that I am an ambassador for the brand. That's bullshit. And that is just bullshit. So what you are is paid. Ambassador needs to be rephrased as I am paid by the brand. I'm sorry, the word ambassador is not disclosure. Ambassador needs to be said, I have received money. And bloody tell people what it is. Ambassadors get diplomatic immunity, right? Yeah. You know, if someone says at the start of a video, and this is, look, I'll be honest, this is why in many ways I do like Linus so much, because they do make a real point of saying it. You know, today's video was sponsored by, and Linus is very good in the sense of they put it out there. I have seen a few things which I think I wouldn't have handled that way, but it is what it is. But yeah, I am intrigued what would happen if a ban happens to some channels, the ones that have received this flow of money, which is, I tell you now, is out there. That flow of money, that flow of DJI credit, that flow of DJI allowing you to exchange your credit for cash, because they do. It is out there, and it is undisclosed. And that's the bit I would be just because I know so much about this. I'm intrigued. I want to know what they pay. can be anything. Look, for a small creator, DJI will offer maybe 1,000 to 2,000 as an incentive for good engagement, is the term they use. So when they offered me to be involved in the FPV drone and I stepped out of it, I was offered up to like £1,500 of DJI credit for good engagement. And I was like, nah, I don't really operate like that. What they're paying the bigger channels, I don't know. I've heard whispers there's a consultancy game at play. So, you know, I get paid a consultancy fee from a brand for, I don't know, testing the drone, and then they send it to me to review. It's all a bit murky. Do you consider credit as payment? Well, I think credit is closest to affiliate income, but it should be disclosed. It doesn't matter as long as it's disclosed. Again, I don't care what anyone gets. Everyone's got to pay their bills. Look, I can be a complete asshole around this because I'm not a full-time channel. And I can be objectionably difficult about this. And if I was a full-time channel, I would have to do things differently. And what I mean by that is I would possibly have to take sponsors. I would possibly have to grow in a different way. I'm lucky that I'm in the position today that I have amazing supporters, amazing Patreons, amazing people who donate to the channel, which allows me to do this. If I went full time, though, I would have to monetize this more. To be frank with you, it would have to be monetized more because it wouldn't pay my bills. But then I'd be telling you that. And I would go to this as just a full out and out. And I can tell you now, if I went full time, you're going to get a video from me asking for money. Because that's what I'll do. I'm going to sit here and say, guys, I'm going full time. I need your help. If you want me to do this, I need your help. I need your help on Patreon. I need your help through donations. If you don't, then don't, and I'll wrap it up and I'll get on with my life. And that's all you can do. Be honest, be open. That's it. And then I wouldn't sell merch, but I would probably then just really push the Patreon a lot more and things like that. And that's all you can do. That is the only way to do it. And I might take a sponsor and we'll agree a set of rules. That sponsor could be someone like PCBWay. I'd have no issues having PCBWay as a sponsor. They've reached out about 20 times to me, and I'm just too lazy to deal with it. If you want the truth about PCBWay, they sponsor a lot of channels. They're a good company. I don't see a problem with it. And they message quite a lot. And I'm just too lazy to reply. Because then I've got to agree what it will look like. And then I've got to do this. I've got too much to do. Oh, thank you, Duncan. I appreciate that. But look, you know, you've got to pay the bills. If anyone thinks a creator shouldn't pay the bills, I'm sorry, you're mad. He needs to pay the bills. He has to pay the bills. But you can do that by being open and honest. And we're lucky in FPV. Most do. All do. I don't think there's one creator in FPV I know that straight out in FPV that in general doesn't be open and honest with things. I bet Philly Drone Life has an ocean support animal. you just got to be honest about it, though. Not hide what you're trying to do. And that's the fact. Okay, so that, I believe, is the main subjects covered tonight. Let me just check I haven't missed anything. If there's any questions, now's the time to put them in the super chats. Not the super chats. This is me shilling for money. Now's the time to put it in the question, in the Q&A. I was talking about more bans earlier, and I'll just touch on this slightly. What is interesting is with the DJI ban, we've just seen one of the big Chinese... Oh, I'll answer it now, Louis. 4.3, I think, still has it. We'll check it. Does anyone know the answer to Louis' question off the top of my head? Do I remember which beta flight still supports SPI RX Free Sky? I thought it was 4.3. They either... Was it 4.4 they took it out? Or was it 4.3 they took it out? Ah, you have to select it when you flash. That's a point. One thing's possible, we won't be getting 04 ear units. Bearing witness news, I'm not sure. I'm pretty convinced DJI is still operating as normal at the moment. And they're not really slowing yet. I think there's a lot to come. But with regards to the bans, I just want to say we've seen a couple of computer companies start getting banned. It's not only affecting drones. I discussed this on my Discord earlier. Let me just jump to it. And Gamers Nexus mentioned it, but you're even seeing bans from computer component companies now in the US too, with regards to being used for Russia. So, look, there's a lot going on that side of things. I can't remember, Louis, where SPI is on Free Sky. I'll have a look. I need to have a look because they've added a lot of stuff now on flashing options. I just can't remember where it is. If anyone remembers... Lambo drives Lambo yo. Clearwater Beach Council trying to pass a smoking ban. Yeah, there's all sorts of bloody stuff going on. Look, it will be what it will be. Look, I'm not particularly worried. From an FPV point of view, we're fine. The world will continue. Don't worry about it. I've lost me mouse. Get over. On my planning report repair videos. Yeah, look, I'm a little bit quiet at the moment. There's a few things going on in my family. This will be coming next. There is a couple of little product videos around the corner. I have got some stuff to do. So we will be doing it. No choice shows. I'll have a look, Louis, and I'll ping you a message. I can't remember. What are some of my favourite non-FPV channels? I tell you that I watch Asianometry every video that gets released. Gamers Nexus. I'm a massive fan of. I actually watch Linus a lot. I watch a lot of PC content, believe it or not. I was in the PC industry for a very long time. At the moment, I've actually been catching up a lot on the Rest is Politics podcast in the UK because we're in the middle of an election, and that is a very good podcast if you guys don't watch it, for those who are UK. Here you go. This will give you an idea of the type of stuff that I watch. So, actually, hardcore overclocking. Asianometry. Bit of NASA space fight that pops up. I don't really watch it. I just skim that. GPU mining. You've got to watch Adam Savage's Tested. You can see Makerbit's there. GN is there. I do watch Matt Watson's Cars and Car Wow. Maker Muse. Paul's Hardware. You can see there. I do cars. I do like these engine teardowns. If you don't know, I do cars. He does teardowns on engines. And I love, like, I am a very mechanical engineer at times, and I love seeing some of the pure destruction is highly interesting. I tell you a channel I have been watching a lot of recently. Northridge Fix, I'm watching less and less of, and more North Fix. Where is it? Let me just... the North... It's not Northridge Fix. It's the North Repair, is it? Which is it? Did you buy an LTT screwdriver? I do. I do have an LTT screwdriver. It's not in front of me. It's in my bedroom because I was using it to put together a cupboard the other day. I would ban AI. Have I tried to build my own muscle car? No, I've built some Harley Davidsons. It's not North... I tell you, it's not Northridge Fix you want to watch. It's Northwest Repair. This guy is phenomenal. Right? I also think he has some beef with Northridge Fix, which is quite funny. This guy, if you're into your repair videos, right, this guy is worth a look. Northwest. He is very... This channel is so underrated. It's crazy. EV Blog 2. And yeah, that's pretty much most of CoffeeZilla. I do watch CoffeeZilla a little bit. Abba Kim, obviously. There's a lot of favorites there. Tech Team GB is another one I watch. You know, I actually watch a lot of PC-related content. Where did RFID come from? That's a 20-minute Asianometry video. I'll be listening to that tomorrow in a drive. Asianometry, one of the best channels. If you don't watch this channel, right, I'm going to promote him before we go. This is a phenomenal channel. If you don't know, if you don't watch it, don't listen to it, you need to check this channel out. Seriously, it's more of a listener. It's not really a watcher. The kind of content they make is just incredible. Just incredible. And it is quite wide-ranging. Everything from where did RFID come on, the hazard of life of undersea cables, right through to high-NA lithography. It is a very, very good channel. Tell you a video that was incredibly interesting to watch on this, for those who are around the computer industry, right? LSI Logic is a really good one to watch. If you want to know where LSI came from, that is a great video to watch. But also the history of... where is it? There was a history of... that one there, the MEMS video, is an incredible video as well. Really great channel. Right. Duncan, thank you for the $10 super chat. That's incredible. Now, I just want to make sure I haven't missed any more. Let me just check over. Mr. FPV, $2. Thank you for that. One up. Thank you for that. I really do appreciate it. What's up? Oh, sorry. Super Deluxe, $4.99. If you could ban one object from the Earth, what would it be and why? I'm tempted to say DJI. I am actually tempted to say DJI, but no. If I could ban one object... I don't know. Android. Ban Wales, ban evil. But object. I'm trying to think what the worst thing I've ever owned is. I'm trying to think what the worst gunpowder. The CPU. Probably should say AI right now, because we're all going to end up in the Cylon world. Win95. Win95 was great. How dare you? Win95 was amazing. Tomatoes. I fucking hate tomatoes. Win95 was amazing. And anyone who has anything bad to say about ME or Vista, I'm coming for you, right? There was nothing wrong with ME, and there was nothing wrong with Vista. And no, I'm still on Windows 10. I haven't moved. XP Service Pack 2 was great. ME was great, as long as you didn't install anything on it. I ran a computer business when ME was released. Nothing wrong with Windows ME. It's fine. Yeah, I haven't done Win 11 yet. I haven't moved up. I'm still on Win 10. I've been heavily watching the move to ARM on the Microsoft side. And for those who haven't seen, unfortunately, the new chipsets from Qualcomm, they're not quite living up to the hype. And also, there's been a little bit of binning going on, which is playing the game, which has been confused people. And if you're going to buy any of these new ARM-based devices, be very careful, because on the E-chip, they are binning them. And there is only one version, which is the full speed version. The X Elite, right? Let me just find it. They are definitely binning, and there are 3 versions of the Elite chipset, which I'm not sure everyone is twigged on. Let me see if I can find the chart. There is a chart with this on, and it's a little bit naughty. It is a little bit naughty. And where's the chart? I tell you who showed the chart. They showed it online on the One Show this week. And for those who don't know, let me just find the One Show. I'll show it to you. This is something you need to understand if you're considering getting one of these. Head and shoulder. Let me mute it. And I'll find the chart. Here it is. So here's the chart. Now, this is super interesting. So this was shown on the One Show. And if you look at it, right, the X Elite, right? So if you're looking at getting this new machine, so you've got the X Plus, there's only one version of, but the X Elite, they're binning 3 versions of the chipsets. You've got the X Elite 78, 80, and 84. And if you look, right, they're all 12 core. But if you look at the turbo boost, the 78 is limited 3.4 gigs all core, 2 core max at 3.4. Whereas the 84 variant is 3.8 all core max and 4.2 dual core. there is going to be a substantial speed difference between the 78 and the 84 variant. And when you're looking to buy devices with this new chipset in, you need to make sure you're getting the 84, because you might think you're getting the X Elite, but if you don't have the 84 variant, you're getting a little bit stitched up. And this has largely fallen under the wayside. People haven't really noticed this. So it's a little bit dodgy. Right. I'm going to call it a night there, guys. I want to say a massive thank you for all of the super chats. A massive thank you for spending some time with me tonight. Look after yourselves. Stay safe. We should be back same time, same place next week. And I will see you soon.